Friends, the United States federal government has some great news for all Americans. Please remember to press the like button, it will greatly assist us. A lot, and don't forget to subscribe either. Friends, let me finally share some outstanding news with you. The United States federal government has stated for the American people who incidentally have been. Naturally, I am talking to the major problems of inflation, the high cost of living, and the relentlessly rising prices that drive conflict and damage the economy over 40 years. Regarding the financial situation of American families, especially those of the working class and Social Security recipients, these people are typically the most vulnerable in our nation as they still get the same payments every month of the unrestrainedly growing costs nationwide today. The United States federal government discloses to the nation what all the American people have been begging for during the past few years. An announcement has finally filled people's purses with delight. All of which, first and most importantly, American households should consider what has transpired today. The United States labor market is remarkably strong, while the Federal Reserve of this nation keeps astonishing resilience. High rates of interest. Let us take a recent action taken by the federal government. The Federal Reserve has set the highest interest rates in the past 2 decades, presumably in an attempt to bring inflation back to its desired level. Sadly, the first major issue is reserves implementation. The dreadful inflation that regrettably has not been able to be managed by the Federal Reserve of this nation, and by means of which the United States is currently facing later on the epidemic, presents an economic challenge. Modest view. Let us all remember this man. There is a very clear offender for the major inflationary situation the United States is facing. Mr. John Powell, the Federal Reserve President, visited the Congress and Senate of the United States on several times and informed the whole nation not to worry. The problem of inflation is only temporary, and we are not going to act based on won't implement any extreme policies since we think the problem will fix itself given the failure of past initiatives. So, inflation has become a major concern in this nation, continuing for about 10 years level of. If you enjoy our material, please do not forget to click the thank you button. After a 40-year high, inflation we have not experienced in the past 40 years would be much appreciated by our channel. Of 9.1 in June 2022, inflation has dropped dramatically to 3.3 in May. Still, it is still shockingly higher than the central bank of this nation would want. Therefore, there are positive indications of upcoming cuts in U.S. interest rates. The simple answer is that you might question what this means and how it affects my buddies in economics, the modest working class. Anything links the Federal Reserve's interest rate raising to thus raising. The cost of borrowing for individuals resulting from rising credit card purchase interest rates will be much more to pay for the goods and services you have been used to in recent years, our nation's. The central bank has taken this action in general in an attempt to lower consumer expenditure, therefore lowering prices in the United States. But, given the high rates of inflation, the central bank intends to lower by means of this step. Although the Federal Reserve has been intending to cut interest rates in recent months, the ongoing inflation issue has caused it to postpone its attempt to boost the economy by doing so. American economy friends, today, the federal government of our nation reveals outstanding news for all the American people. It has added 206,000 jobs only in the month of June. Did the unemployment rate slightly increase to 1% according data from the Department of Labor released today. Friday, this is a good indication of the continuous strength of the American economy and the continuous addition of new employment. Of course, this suggests that an increasing number of people working daily in the United States, sending more money into the hands of American households. Professionals in the industry claim that the minor increase in employment is a normal occurrence predicted at least a few years. The American people will probably see an improvement and a continuous recovery of their nation's economy in the next months, which is a pleasant development since it corresponds with their long-standing needs and demand. Economy in this nation allowing them to live comfortably once more. However, it would be great if everyone could participate equally. Despite the lack of money for luxurious trips or other expenses, none is seeking money for such. Outfits expenses. Currently, American families and their businesses are asking the federal government of the United States to guarantee that the nation's economy produces enough money for them to cover their basic food needs and rent mortgage, eventually ensuring their fiscal safety. The most recent employment numbers mostly match projections for the economy to create 190,000 jobs and keep a 4% unemployment rate. Last month's employment counts surpassed the 190,000 that the federal government and the United States Federal Reserve kept in mind that the major objective of the Federal Reserve in this nation is to maintain low unemployment rates and regulate inflation, ensuring that it remains quite low. This is the main goal of the United States Federal Reserve across all economies. Inflation has started to steadily drop in line exactly with the margins set by the Federal Reserve over the Mr. Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, has often said over the past few years that the Federal Reserve must first see better inflation readings before thinking about lowering interest rates. These rates currently fall between 5.25% and 5.5% as set by the country's central bank. It is widely known that banks usually provide somewhat higher rates than those established by the Federal Reserve. The goal is for these rates to drop, allowing individuals to engage in greater environmentally friendly expenditure. This development marks a good progressive movement for the whole country. In his most recent remarks, Mr. Powell underlined the significance of these policies in stabilizing the economy to help one to understand current figures. Reveal that inflation has dropped 1.2% over the past quarter, indicating a notable improvement. If this trend continues, the Federal Reserve might think about reducing interest rates by the end of the fiscal year, thereby offering even more relief for both consumers and companies alike. In his announcement, Mr. Powell highlights our top priorities remain to guarantee price stability and to foster maximum employment. We are cautiously hopeful about the recent inflation readings and will continue to monitor. With lower interest rates on the horizon, consumers can expect reduced loan and mortgage expenses, therefore creating an atmosphere fit for this news that closely relates a sense of confidence to the financial markets and the wider economy. Stable economic development and expansion. During his remarks, the chairman of the Federal Reserve indicated his wish for further confidence that inflation is gradually declining towards 2%, before considering a relaxation of the present strict monetary policy he adopted. Attending an event to address this important topic, the Federal Reserve president, who was in Europe, specifically Portugal, aims to comfort not only the American public, but also global economies who significantly rely on her comments. Tuesday. Looking ahead to the Federal Reserve's forthcoming meeting in September, around 2/3 of market operators are expecting the first interest rate cut. So, this meeting will be vital in deciding the future direction of the U.S. economy. Federal Reserve financial policy, based on recent statistics, the choices on the table consist in either starting to slightly lower interest rates to boost the U.S. economy or continuing to raise them at current levels. Although the U.S. has exhibited indications of slowing down, in June the Consumer Price Index CPI dropped 3.0% year-over-year from 4.0% in May, suggesting a possible trend toward reduced. Still a worry at 4.8% though is core inflation, excluding erratic food and energy costs. Emphasizing the need of a careful approach, the chairman in his speech cited past events where early policy relaxation resulted in a resurgence in inflation. He also underlined the Federal Reserve's double responsibility to produce maximum employment and price stability, underlining the delicate balance necessary in policymaking. Moreover, recent polls suggest diverse opinions among economists over the timing of the policymaking. Cuts pace. While some believe the Federal Reserve might wait until early next year to guarantee a more stable economic climate. In conclusion, others foresee a cut in the final quarter of the year. The Federal Reserve's decision in September will be crucial not only for the U.S. economy, but also for global markets closely observed as the Federal Reserve negotiates these difficult economic times. Waters working to strike a balance between maintaining inflation and promoting development. Please keep in mind to subscribe and hit the like button for this crucial data in check. Ring the bell and share this movie. Thank you very much. Till the next chance.